All right, recording started. Go ahead, Yuri.
Yeah, who'll be first? Who'll be second?
If you want to introduce yourself first, then I'll go, and then I will transition into the content I prepared, and then we'll let you go, Yuri, and
Yeah,
go from there.
yeah. So yeah, my name is Yuri. I am senior data engineer, SQL Saturday and other conference speaker. A lot of things going on, so I'm participating in a lot of things from Microsoft now. So yeah, generally that's it for me. So I'm working in like building data analytics solutions platforms, probably 13 years. The last probably 7 years using Microsoft ecosystem. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Yuri. And I'm Nathan Giullian. I am the founder and CEO of Bertrand Professional Services, doing Fabric and AI consulting. And before I was here, I was at a Microsoft partner journey team doing Microsoft BI and analytics consulting for 6.5 years. I'm so excited to get this going again. I think let's go, Jake, and then Eric, you can just give us your name and what you're doing and maybe something you're hoping to get out of this.
Yeah, for sure. Nice to meet everybody. So my name is Jacob. You can call me Jacob Hunt. I am Nathan's brother-in-law, actually. So that is a bonus for sure. And I am a senior data engineer data analyst, sorry, for Autoliv currently. Previous to that, I was doing healthcare and data analytics for Select Health and Intermountain. So yeah, currently using Power BI and just was hoping to just get some more insights into Power BI, its use, and how I can leverage it in my current role. And yeah, always looking forward to connecting with more people and networking. So grateful to meet each of you.
Thanks, Jake. Good to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Eric Volpe. I'm a Microsoft full-time employee. Been at Microsoft for 16 years now, although I defected for a couple of years and came back. Worked mainly in consulting and then went into engineering. Was one of the first 88 that started Azure back in the day.
Oh, nice.
Worked on the Azure customer advisory team inside of engineering for many years. And then about 5-6 years ago, I moved on to external customers working with large retailers. So pretty much if you're a retailer in the US, I've probably worked with your team or met you in some form or fashion. So I still work retail primarily around AI solutions. Everything AI, obviously we live and breathe it at Microsoft, but we do a lot of Fabric implementations. We do a lot of Power Platform. We do a lot of Copilot. List goes on and on. So yeah, looking to just grow presence in Utah. Obviously, I've been out here since about 2021. I moved down from Seattle. I was an enterprise architect before that at Nike, and then I had my own business in Asia for many years. So yeah, looking forward to the community and getting wired in. Great to meet you guys.
Great, thanks, Eric. It's good to have you here. And I know COVID kind of killed meetups for a while, and so it's taken us this long, but we're back at it, and we're gonna keep meeting consistently and hope that everybody will get value out of it. So our agenda for today, I am going to start out talking about some of the AI functionality inside of Fabric. I've got a couple demos I'm going to show, and then Yuri was going to he'll take it from there to show some Fabric basics, which I'll let him take that. And then afterwards, we'll just answer some questions, have a discussion, get some feedback, and then we may end a little early. We'll see, but let's get into it. Let me share my screen. Here we go. All right, so I've got myself a little Fabric instance here and a few artifacts inside of this AI and Fabric workspace. So the few things I'm going to highlight today, some of them have to do with Copilot functionality in Fabric, and some of them have to do with, it's not strictly Copilot functionality, but AI functions that you can use within a notebook. I want to focus on those a little more, but we'll also do some of the demonstrations of what you can do with Copilot. So to start off, what I've got here is I've got a data flow, Gen 2. And in our data flow, if I open that up, this is sourcing data from some demo data in the Lakehouse using the SQL Analytics. Actually, this one is using the Lakehouse connector, not the SQL Analytics endpoint. Either way, this is just pulling in some employee data, city data, customer date, stock item, and fact sale. So these are pretty standard tables, just demo data from, I believe, the worldwide importer demo data set that Microsoft offers. What I'm going to demo here today is how you can use Copilot to help transform the data. So you can use natural language in order to write your Power Query. Because again, this language right here that's used in data flows is technically called M, and also referred to as Power Query. You'll find it in Excel and here up in a data flow. It's also what's used in the Power BI desktop app in order to do transformations. And it really has been the leader in low-code citizen developer ETL work for a long time, ever since Power BI came out. And Copilot is just taking that to the next level by allowing you to do maybe some more complex transformations just by using natural language, as opposed to having to go look it up and find the right functions and then trial and error. So let's say if we come here to our date table, we've got our date here, and our date is in a date time format. Okay, maybe we want to transform that. Normally you could just come in here and click on this, but what if we want to have Copilot do this? It knows what context you have, and so I can say, please change the date column to date. Now, when you're running Copilot like this, it's actually consuming capacity for your Fabric capacity, right? So it's billed to your Fabric. So when you go to Azure and look at your cost analysis, you'll see a line for Copilot usage. And then you can see it already did that right there. It added a step, transform, perfect. That was an easy one. But back to what I was saying about Copilot, just know that that is going to use your capacity. So if you are historically on a P1 and you're migrating to an F64, but you're adding Copilot usage, you may want to take that into account, and maybe you'll need to bump up to the next SKU in Fabric in order to handle that. Or you can purchase a separate capacity just for Copilot usage, and then have the rest of your ETL and other production workloads on your main Fabric capacity. So those are the awesome options there. So that wrote this Power Query for us, pretty straightforward. It's great, nice and easy. Maybe we'll want to add something a little more complex. One thing that I'm noticing is that in this demo data, it doesn't have quarters, right? But I want to be able to filter by quarter. So I need to add a few columns to help me filter by quarter. I need a quarter sort column. That's just to make sure that it shows up correctly. One that is formatted Q1, Q2, etc., and another with the year, such as 2025, Q1, 25, Q2, etc. Okay, we'll see how well it interprets that. So that's more of a complex ask. And now I would say a couple of years ago, when Copilot was first coming out, like right around then when Copilot was first in Fabric, a command like this would have been pretty difficult for it to understand. But I've been impressed lately as to how well it has been able to do. So if we come down here, look at that, quarter sort, quarter, year quarter. That's like perfect. And Copilot is getting to the point where it's a really compelling tool inside of Fabric. Like, I have been genuinely impressed by what it can do here. And now this isn't necessarily how I would have written it with these nested add columns. So that's fine. I probably would have had 3 separate steps just so that I could go and maybe delete one that I didn't want or edit them separately instead of having them all in one. So that is something that I would want it to break out. Maybe I can say, please separate those or that step into 3 separate steps, because that's just how I prefer to write the code. Oh, hey, look at that. Please try rewording. So that's an issue. So you might have to go do that yourself, but regardless, the code is there. It's easy for you to go into the advanced editor and make those your own steps themselves. So that's kind of what Copilot can do within Power Query with the M language inside of a data flow. You can also do things like describe this query, and then I like to use it to add comments and things like that. So we'll just let this one run and then we'll move on. So let's see, here's an example. This query loads blah, 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 source, and then you could just add that to your query. Updated the description of your query and its steps. So now you can see here, if I hover over, I've got all these little icons and they will just describe what each of them does, which is great. Super helpful when you have to hand off things to somebody else at your company so they're not lost. So AI makes it so easy to add descriptions and make your documentation better. So use it that way. All right, let's go ahead and save and close this. And now we're going to run into, in case, because I bet you don't just use Power Query. Power Query is great, but you may also use SQL. And so we're going to go to the SQL endpoint here for our Lakehouse, and we're going to go to Copilot, and it's starting it up for our SQL endpoint. And you can say, hey, what can you do? And then we're going to have it help us write some queries. And these queries are going to be more around, because we can see all the tables here and it's writing queries across many, instead of helping us do some transformations, while it could help us write some stored procedures, we're going to focus on having it write us some queries to get some answers, because maybe you want to come in here and before building a report, you just want to find out some information about your model. So here are some things it can do. Let's go and say, can you help me write a query to find the sales, or let's say to find which product had the most sales in our data set for all time. And we'll let that think for a bit. Now, again, when writing AI, it's always good to check it. So we're going to want to make sure. Let's take this and we're going to do a new SQL query and we're going to insert our code. So it's always good to check. So what we're doing here is we're doing a select top one. It's adding an alias SI for our dimension stock item as product identifier, and then it's doing a sum total excluding tax as total sales amount, and that's coming from our fact sales table, joining them on the stock item key. All of that looks great, and it's ordering it descending, so it starts with the total sales amount. So let's go ahead and run that. And there you go. Now, what it did is it did tell us the amount, it did tell us the identifier, but I don't know what the product is. Can you update the query to give me that information and make it top 5? So a lot of this comes down to just how good your prompt is. Again, when you're writing prompts, you always want to make sure you tell it like the role, you're a data expert, especially if you want to get really good outputs. So you are a SQL expert. You always want to make sure that you're writing queries that help me understand what's actually happening, etc. So let's come in here. I'm going to go all, we're going to delete that and then insert this. And let's see. So it gives me the product name now, and it's doing top 5. Perfect. So if I run that, and there we go. Air cushion, 10 millimeter anti-static, side bubble wrap, side bubble wrap, side bubble wrap, and then those sales amounts. Now it'd be nice to have those formatted as dollar amounts, but that's okay for now. That works. And then I could update this maybe for just a specific year. Great. Can you break it out by year now, please? And so it should just add another group by there, and then we'll be good with our SQL query, and we can save that to use later. But this is, again, very good. It's not necessarily able to read my mind, but it's able to take exactly what I'm asking for and put it directly into what I need. So let's insert this. Notice how it's much bigger now because we're having to, you know what, let me try that again. Delete, insert. So it's adding a select, it's got our year, etc. It's doing a group by, it's also doing with ranked products all the way down. So that's quite a lot of SQL that it generated pretty quickly. Let's run that and see what we get. Taking a little longer, but soon we should see our results. There we go. Okay, so now you can see the year, and you can see within each year all of the different items. Now, one thing that it is not doing great is keeping as the top 5. So I should have said, hey, let's actually keep it as top 5. So we'd want to modify that. But this is a great starting point. If anything, it gets you 80% of the way there, and you can refine it for the remaining 20%. So that's Copilot within SQL. Let me now transition over to, I'm going a little quickly just to make sure I can cover stuff, but if you do have questions, you're welcome to ask them now. We can also cover a little bit later after Yuri's section.
Hey, Nathan, can you go back to your query for just 1 second?
Sure.
If you right click on your query in the left in the queries pane, you should see an explain too.
Over here?
Yeah, is it showing up for you?
No.
There's actually a skill. Let me it's called the Copilot explainer skill.
Okay.
And I'll have to see how you enable it, but usually if you right click, you'll see a little Copilot and it'll say explain, right? Or I think it says like explain this query or something like that.
Okay.
And usually it'll give you an explanation of like what's happening so that you can drill into that. There is a document that's there, but like one of the key things, and you kind of hit on it, right, is if you're doing M language query, right, prompting in a way that makes sense for it, like if you can think in M function families, if you're cognizant of that, super powerful. Like, hey, this is a table problem with this table, or this is a text cleanup with this text, right? Or, specifically in M terms, like rewrite this using table transform columns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can give it some of that hinting, and that's why that function reference in the language reference is so powerful that I stuck in the chat. Like,
Yeah.
If you can prompt and give it a little bit more context, you'll get way better results out of it, right? We're making it better all the time, but that's ultimately what we're doing behind the scenes to make it a better experience.
That's great. Thank you, Eric. Context is everything with AI, right? Okay. Now this is what I'm most excited for. I love notebooks. I love working with Python. This is cool. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to run this first little bit. This is just installing our OpenAI API piece, and then we import some functions here, or a library, I should say. This is for Spark AI functions. And then I'm loading a very, very basic table. It's just a few example customer support tickets that have descriptions of what the customer input on their support tickets. And then we're going to use some AI stuff to summarize it, to get sentiment, etc., and add to this data frame so we can analyze it that way. And this is really powerful because straight in here, you can just do it. You don't have to make an API call out to a separate AI tool in order to summarize or do what you want to do. You can just do it all straight within your notebook here within Fabric, which is super powerful. So let's import our library, and then we'll show you the data frame. Okay, here is our data frame. Very simple, just a few rows that we'll see here in just a minute. Notice that I'm doing all of this in PySpark. Python, there is a way you can do this with pandas as well, if you prefer pandas. Okay, so here's our description. We have 3 vehicles unexpectedly removed from our lease schedule, and the billing system shows active charges, causes duplicate invoices. Great. The dashboard numbers don't match our Excel export. Quarter forward totals appear inflated compared to our internal reconciliation. Maintenance records are delayed at least 2 weeks. We cannot reconcile vendors. So these are all problems that our customers have submitted, right? Cases. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use this. I'm going to reference my data frame, which is DF up here. And then I'm going to do a summarize on the description and add a column called summary. Now, these are pretty short, but this could be really advantageous if you needed to have a summary of a much longer note from a customer, right? Feedback you collect, reviews, that kind of thing. So we'll let this run. And the output we're going to get is right here. So now notice it adds a description summarize error. That's just for reference, metadata here. But you can see here we've got our summary. Now, in this case, the summary is just as long as the actual description, but most of the time you'll do this when you have a description that's longer. This is a summary that we get. 3 vehicles were unexpectedly removed from the lease schedule, but the billing system shows it active, causing duplicate invoices. That's a pretty good description. of what the problem is. Same thing if we come down here, this one, it's about the same. And there you go. So that works great. And that's just using our AI.summarize, taking the input column, giving an output column, good to go. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to extract. So this is cool because we're extracting a bunch of different things: billing issue, data mismatch, maintenance delay, lease movement, renewal confusion, extracting all of that from the description. And so what this will do is it'll make it a lot easier to categorize things, right? Multi-label tagging against a label list. So you have specific things that you're always looking for. You can identify those here. And now if I come down and I look at my data frame, you can see it added all of these columns: billing issue, data mismatch, maintenance delay, lease movement, renewal confusion. So there you go. This is a renewal confusion. Drivers move between leases. Vehicle unexpectedly removed. Maintenance records. And it's doing that and having a null where it's not applicable for these other ones. Double billed, right? So that's these two, while they use different words, same idea. So it's really nice for us to be able to say, oh, this has records. If I want to look at the number of cases we have under billing issues, under data mismatch, under maintenance delay, AI can make that extremely easy to just add those right away within a notebook like this. And again, notebooks are extremely performant, so you can do this on millions, hundreds of millions, even billions of rows if you have the right compute. So now we're going to do classify. This is extract, okay, where it's actually pulling out for the double billing what the, here, let me let somebody in. For the double billing, it's giving you the section of the description where the billing issue was, or where it matches the label. Down here, it's actually just classifying it into low, medium, and high, right? And this is a severity. So we're ranking or giving it a severity based on the description that the customer gave. So we'll let that run, and then we'll be able to see the severity. This will be a single column with different values, whereas before the labels, it was multiple columns and then identifying which pieces match that. So if we come over here, you can see now that we've got severity, and then here is our high. All of them are high in this case, but there it is right there. And that's using the AI classifies function. I've got a couple more examples here. So in this one right here, we're analyzing the sentiment. It's giving it a score: positive, negative sentiment. Again, you'll want to check these, right? As with anything AI, you'll want to go through and validate this. This is just a really quick and easy way to get a score, and then work on refining it as you go. So you can see here we've got negative. That makes sense. It'll also show positive if a customer had something good to say. And then finally, we've got, I just had this in case the summary was blank, then it'll give you a similarity score, right? And it'll go through embedding. So let's have this run, and these will be the last couple. So as these are running, the AI functionality inside of Fabric has gotten to the point where I recommend it to customers now, as opposed to leveraging an API to pull AI stuff in. I think Fabric is to the point where everything can be done in-house and done well in-house, which makes it a great one-stop shop to meet all of your data needs and to streamline your workflows with AI. So you can see here, we've got our embedding, where it has each of these, what's embedded in them. This one I think is less useful for this use case. But if I wanted to run just this section of the code, then that would output, you know what, let me comment this out real quick. And then I'm going to run this so we can see the similarity. And that'll be done in just a second. Okay, so notebooks, again, super powerful. The AI functionality that's been added to them is really, it's getting really good. And whether you're using a notebook, whether you're using a SQL endpoint, whether you're using a data flow, all of them will benefit greatly from both Copilot and from the AI functions that are built in. Okay, I'm gonna let that run just for a bit, and okay, there we go, got it. So there's the similarity score, and we're good. So you can tell you how similar they are, which in this case they are very similar. You probably wouldn't do that for a summary description, but you get the idea. Okay, welcome Vasanth, it's good to have you. Glad that you could join us. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second and let Yuri take it away.
Yes, Nathan, and I would be very grateful. It seems I need to be granted presenter permission.
Let me do that right now. Make a presenter. Okay, you should be good.
Yep, sharing the screen. No, this one. Do you see my screen?
Looks great.
Yeah, I will probably be using this type of presentation without full screen. Vasant, do you want to present shortly you? So just to understand your experience, your goals, maybe it'll be helpful for me especially. Okay.
You're on mute, Vasanth, just in case you didn't know, but we'd love to have you introduce yourself if you would like.
Yeah.
All right, we'll carry on.
Yeah, so my presentation will be focusing on audience for beginners who want to start with Fabric, and particularly I'll be focusing not on the technical aspects of the how to begin with Fabric, but I would say more on the framework, what to do, how strategically to do this to grow in like as a professional in Fabric environment, in Microsoft ecosystem generally, in data engineering, from my experience. So that's what will be my presentation focused on. So it will be losing the technical component. But I think now in the AI era, it's very easy to find the technical component. That's why I'm doing this. So shortly about me again. So I am with Fabric since day one when I was working for the consultancy company, and Fabric was one of our key kind of products to sell, selling point. So I am from day one. I am also speaking in SQL Saturday. Soon we'll be speaking at FabCon, and now we are building together with Nathan a community here in Utah, particularly in Salt Lake City and online. So that's shortly about me again. So the structure of this presentation, we will discover three things: how to start with Fabric, how to continue growing with Fabric, and how to move strategically, thinking from the future perspective in Fabric in data ecosystem generally. So as I mentioned before, my target audience is beginners or switchers who want to dig deeper in Fabric and start growing there and doing business. First, why Fabric? I love using Magic Quadrant from Gartner. So it shows the position, especially of Microsoft and Fabric as its product on the market. So there are different versions of Gartner quadrants. So I took particularly the version for 2025 for analytics and BI platform, where Microsoft is top one leader. So we can see it here. There are different ones like in cloud environments, integration, different systems, but the pattern is the same. Microsoft always, I would say maybe always, top 1, 3, 5 players, and particularly in the top right quadrant. So it means it has great strategy and great execution. So it means the people who try to gain knowledge and experience in Fabric, they are thinking probably strategically because it will be valuable in the near time at least. So the second thing, and so I has an experience mentoring people on ADP list and MilMentor particularly. So, and people often ask questions like, Yuri, I want to jump in data engineering, what to do? And the first question I ask usually is, what type of data engineering do you want to jump in? And from the technical perspective, there is at least 3 roles of engineering. So it's data engineer, very system-oriented person, etc. Analytics engineer, who is in the middle between business and data engineer, and BI actual engineer who communicates with business, building reports, etc., etc. So, and in regard of these roles, the different skills are needed. So here the main skills I see are needed, and they are spreading those skills between the roles. So Spark, it's generally for data engineering, and Fabric offers great Spark features in itself. So yeah, but generally it's for data engineers and partially for analytics engineers. SQL, it's a core for everybody who work in data. So even business analysts use very intensively SQL. So SQL anyway is the core. Python, I would say it's for data engineer. I would also add here analytics engineer and sometimes BI engineer. But anyway, Python is core as well. Power BI for sure, it's BI and EE. I am, for example, I have experience in BI, but I have less experience in Power BI, particularly, being particularly the data engineer. DAX for sure for BI engineers, and the higher level skills like data governance, data modeling, operations, CI/CD, how to delivery, and business acumen. So that's the profile of engineer, data analytics or BI engineer, and the vision how to see which skills to gain. The next thing is how to kick off Fabric's experience in the real world. So some time ago, I was, to be honest, I very clearly remember this feeling. I was scared about my own Fabric. I was scared because it's money, it's enterprise, how to do this. And I tried to register for Fabric, provided my personal email, and it said, no, you need to have some business email. And for me, it was mess. So I gave up 2 years probably ago. But then I started this round again, and I was able to get my Fabric. So that's why this slide, its goal is to help people who try to enter this game do the same thing. So here I'm provided the link. This link actually from Microsoft, from the hackathon, some African hackathon. I'm not sure, Ethiopia or something like this, but I found this link very useful. It describes very well how to create the Microsoft Office tenant, how to get the first trial E1 license, and using this E1 license to get the Fabric. So use this link. So it's very descriptive. It's very easy to understand, etc. On the other hand, if the person, I don't know, has their own Azure tenant, the second option is in Azure tenant, create identity in Enter ID, and using this email from this identity, create register trial Fabric. So that's how it works. So two options have started with Fabric technically, I mean, to get the first platform and start working, developing there. One more option. Some people ask, I wanna move, and especially the person I'll be mentoring soon on Mill Mentor asked me like, I wanna jump in data analytics field. How to do this in using Microsoft platform? Good news is we have Power BI. It's free for personal use. We can do this. We can start with some projects doing this. So that's about this part. So this is more for BI people. Yes, so that's technically about that part. So now let's move forward to more profound thing. Okay, I have Fabric, I have Power BI, whatever. What to do next? And the point here is a lot of people, especially engineers who are by default are technical, very technical oriented people. They make very great but same mistake. They start with trainings, with things, a lot of reading, etc., and it's a trap. Because if the person starts learning about the product with the documentation, it's the right direction how to waste a lot of time and gain not so many experience, valuable experience. My suggestion, turn the pattern how to do this. I suggest all my mentee using something like hackathons, especially hackathons, Microsoft contexts. The last time I participated in a few Microsoft contests. That's fun. And the important thing in hackathons is external judgment. So I have limited time. I have very clear frame what to do. I have some freedom, kind of creativity, how to implement this. But this is exactly the framework, which is very similar in a real life business. In real life business, we have limited time for some business task. We have some frame how to achieve it, and we need to be creative and finally gain the business value. So that's why I'm suggesting hackathons. How to find hackathons? A lot of resources, Googling, etc. I used DevPost the first time. So the first time I received my invitation to hackathon using DevPost, Microsoft at that time was interested in gaining insights from hackathoners. So they registered a hackathon on devpost.com, and I received the invite because I was subscribed on that and participated. And that's it. And it was fun, actually, because 2 years ago, I built the functionality like Nathan showed 20 minutes ago, like these AI functions. I built them 2 years ago using OpenAI API integration, invoking it into Spark SQL. So I was able using select and then my custom function with prompting, which under the hood was referencing to the OpenAI API and prompted my data using the data from the UDF Spark. That's it. So hackathons are highly recommended. So if you have Fabric, you have hackathon, you will have success. Then you can just enable your imagination, ChatGPT, documentation, use all those resources and achieve success, but using this framework. So to conclude, what people do and what I oppose to and what I suggest to do. So if you want to start and grow in Fabric, so first of all, start with Fabric, open your first tenant, start participating in some hackathon, ideally. Pet project may be an option, but pet project doesn't have external judgment and timelines. That's why I don't like pet project, personal project, I mean. Hackathons have this. So after gaining the first experience, kind of non-commercial experience, after that, it's much easier to gain the commercial experience. Because, and what is commercial experience? So for example, the person works in the company which doesn't have Fabric. But Fabric is not about Fabric. Fabric has the components. It has, for example, Spark notebooks. It has Power BI, and probably a lot of companies have this. So gaining the experience may start from those points, gaining experience in Spark notebooks, gaining experience in Power BI, etc. After having some commercial experience, the third step I suggest is certification. Why certification? Because it structures the knowledge. It gives some kind of content to the knowledge, makes it more systematic. Because a lot of people do exactly the opposite. They start with the certificate without even non-commercial experience. I think it's not effective, and it's just wasting of time. And the last step here is leadership. By leadership, I mean to share the knowledge about the product you learned from the previous 3 steps. Why leadership, in my perspective, is crucial part as a learning journey, because when I am presenting something, I need to distill signal from noise. And this cognitive operation, when I'm distilling this, it gives much deeper level of understanding how the product works. So that's my framework I suggest for people, especially for my mentee, to use during their jumping in different areas, switching, and especially Microsoft Fabric in our context. What else? Microsoft offers a lot of things for support people in Fabric's journey. Particularly, step number 2 here, we have Fabric community forums, 2 and 3 probably, and no, 2, yeah, Fabric community forums, Microsoft Fabric groups, definitely our group, and links to our group is here, everything, Microsoft link to Microsoft group, link to Meetup group where we are creating the events, and they are keeping you involved, and they are reminding you that you will have event, etc. And our LinkedIn group, just to gather the community to be visible, etc. So you may use all those resources, and especially I want to stress the resource number 2 and 1. So for example, in forum, the average time to get the answer for your question is from 2 to 6 hours. So you are writing the question in the morning, and in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, you receive answer on that question, and then you receive 4 more answers in the near 24 hours, something like this. People are very motivated. There are a lot of programs from Microsoft why people are motivated, and they are doing this. Okay, now when we understand how to start, how to continue growing, the last step, how to see the future, how to be in trend, and then understand the direction, how to grow in Fabric. So here I want to share some things, real life things, which may be useful. First thing is how to understand how Fabric is growing. Not everybody knows about that, but it exists, and I want to share this with people just to understand. Fabric has publicly accessible roadmap. Using this link, everybody can see the future of Fabric. It means people can understand the next steps from Microsoft, which will be implemented in the Fabric, and the average expected timeline for that. Why it is important? Because it's, for example, for business, it's important to understand which features will be accessible soon, and using that, for example, having some planning, strategic, technical strategic session, sort of that. For new people, it's interesting because they will understand how Fabric will grow, will feel that. The second thing is about the paid Fabric thing. When we use trial Fabric, it's good, but at some point of time, it becomes annoying because I need to move all my stuff I developed in my Fabric in trial into the paid into the Alan is joining. Okay, into the personal Fabric, into this next trial Fabric. Why it's hard? Because it's just annoying, it's just waste of time. I need to move all this stuff. And at some point, I decided to move to the paid version of Fabric. What's going on in paid version of Fabric? I just want to show you, because before that, I had some fear of doing this. So I will have a presentation of HubCon on Fabric. So my presentation is about capacity planning, and I decided just let's do some stress test of that. So this chart showcases my stress test. So when I was using Fabric at not 100, 200% capacity, I mean, I loaded it, everything how I was able to load it, I spent $20 per day. But when I was developing in a chilling mode like this, my spending during the day after 2 or 3 days developing in Spark Notebook or something like this, what was like $2-3 per day. So that's what is paid version of Fabric if we use it. But if we have it, we don't need to move all this stuff from the trial version. Why it's convenient. One more thing is what's next. Fabric's leadership programs. So as I mentioned before, It's probably will be the slide for Alan particular. I will come back. So my framework, how to grow in business, like data engineering. First is start something, having some hackathon. I highly suggest participating in hackathon. Then moving to the commercial project, then gaining some certification, and then gaining some leadership roles. So here, the leadership roles I can offer people because they are great. So Microsoft offers super user, people who are answering technical questions. It's a very great opportunity for people who are growing and have some experience to gain the experience through helping others. And as a result, they may be nominated being super users title twice a year. Second program is Microsoft MVP. I'm trying to earn this title now, and it's very hard work. It's like super user, but at scale. So instead of one-to-one communication, it's more like one-to-group communication at scale, doing something valuable to the group of people. Next one is SQL Saturday. Across all different states, even countries, SQL Saturdays. I had the pleasure participating in San Diego. We'll have pleasure participating in Atlanta soon, and maybe in other states and cities. And the last but not least, co-leading our group. We need your help in different ways. So that's it. Yeah.
Great.
So if anybody has any question, please.
Well, good
Alan,
job,
nice
Yuri.
to meet you.
Yes, Alan, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. And good job, Yuri. That was great.
Thank you.
Okay. I know we're running short on time. We are more than happy to stay for at least the next 7 minutes and answer some questions. Our goal is to have at least one meeting every couple of months. Since Yuri and I are both speaking at FabCon, we're not going to have a meeting in March, I think is the plan. But we're looking to schedule the next one sometime in April, and then we'll hopefully create a regular cadence where we can all just share our knowledge and realize that we're not alone in this world of fabric development. We have each other, we have friends. We want to build a community where we can reach out to each other and ask questions and get help with whether it's architecting or data engineering or Power BI or using AI inside of these tools, whatever it is. The goal here is to help create a community so that we can all have somebody to go to when we have questions that need answering. We will also, if any of you are interested in presenting at one of these, Yuri and I don't want to be the only people talking and presenting during these. We want to have everybody have a chance to share and present some cool things that they have found as well. So if that is interesting to you, you're more than welcome to reach out. Let me put my email here in the chat, and Yuri, I think you should do the same as well. You're more than welcome to reach out to us at any time. Okay, so there's my email. There's Yuri's. Perfect. And we can't thank you enough for being here. It's really good to have you. I know we've got a small group here, but this is how it grows. So next time, we can invite your friends, and we'll get better at sending out more reminders as well through Meetup and other things, so that everybody is ready for this meeting. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do an in-person meeting sometime, maybe in the summer this year, so that we can maybe grab some food and have a good talk about fabric and other things. So that's hopefully something we'll be able to do as well.
Yes, and for people who was late, we recorded all our video. We will share it in the near, I believe, 1-2 days during the weekend probably. So you will be able to watch it from the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of recording, let me go ahead and stop the recording now.